Andrea. We got Andrea. All right. Hi, Electra. We've got Brenda's note taker. Okay. Okay. Whatever. We got note takers. My note taker follows me around too, just so you know. Sometimes it precedes me. There's nothing I can do. Hey, Monique, how are you? Susan Purvis. Oh my God, Susan Purvis, you have to come on our trip. You would love our trip. Meet Kiki, who's here. She's going to talk about our trip just so you hear it. Susan Purvis is like, Kiki, you guys have to meet. You both are adventurers, but she's like a super adventurer. I'm so glad to see you here. Hi, Electra. Hi, Gina. Hi, Marie. How are you? Hi, Elise. Hi, Andrea. Monique. Annette. Hi, Annette. We haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Anne Marie. Christine.
Hi.
Good to see you. Therese. Good to
Hi,
see
Christine.
you. Sarah. Ellen. Brenda. Terry Jane. Catherine.
Anne
Good.
Marie.
Oh, awesome. And someone on 610. I don't know who that is, but hello and how are you? So I'm so glad to see you guys. We have a bunch of people joining, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. And I guess this is a good topic. Hi, Amy. So glad that you're here as well. I was trying to figure out first of all, just drop into the chat for everybody here so people know who's a member and who's not. Just put in their member or not member. So we all know that'll make life easier for everybody. A lot of you are members, a lot of you are not. I'm so glad to have you all here. Um, you know, I chose the title to be subtle, reinventing yourself in a time of change, knowing that I don't know about you guys, but I'm on freak out situation here. So, because we don't know what kind of change it is. And of course, what CoveyClub is all about is change. And so I thought, well, let's gather everybody to talk. I can definitely help about change. Um, the women in the room can definitely help about change. And what I keep saying to everybody is that we are we're in this weird situation. The only way I can describe it from my life is when you have that guy that you were dating for a very long time and you were either going to get married or never see them again. It's like going to go black or white. There's no in between. You're not going to be friends. It's going to be your life is going to be this or it's going to be that. And we don't know which way it's going. So everybody's kind of holding their breath. But I thought change is all around us. We're experts at change. We can help you with that. Covey is about change. All the women here are about change. And change comes to you whether you like it or not. That's life. This is what life is about. And sometimes it's exciting and sometimes it's not. Let me say hi, Catherine, and then Kathy and Terry Jane. Glad to see you there too. So for people who are just joining, drop into the chat whether you're a member or not member. And also, yeah, put in where you're from. That would be great. Oh, I see. It's the it's the note taker saying who it is. So you can see that. Anyway, we're really excited to see you all. And so let's get started. So I'm just going to give you a few little facts about why change happens and why it seems to be more change going on than maybe some of us want to have in our lives. So, a recent study from MetLife Mature Market Institute found that nearly 60% of women in their 40s and 50s consider changing their careers at midlife. Why? Because they're looking for more fulfillment and flexibility. We all know that as life goes on, you need different things, right? And as your life changes, maybe you could use more flexibility. Maybe you could use a different, time. So I just wanted to give you I always start with facts because then it places us where everybody else is. We're not strange. We're not different. And so 60% of women are feeling the way we are. That's a lot, right? It's not everybody, but it's an awful lot of us. The notion of a 25-year-old Harvard dropout being the profile of an entrepreneur is wrong. That's been wrong for a very long time. It's 25% of US entrepreneurs are women aged 45 to 64. And the Kaufman Index of Startup Activity states that midlife women make up a growing segment of entrepreneurs with many starting businesses after leaving corporate careers. And there are a whole bunch of statistics about older entrepreneurs and female entrepreneurs, just so you know if that's the direction you're thinking about, that talk about having more success, better returns, everything, because you're more established, because you've been through so much and you bring so much maturity to this whole enterprise of change. So it's an interesting stat. I always thought when I started out doing CoveyClub, I was like, well, I'm not 20 years old. I know that, but I didn't know that the statistics actually supported where we are. As a result, 57% of women aged 45 to 59 are looking to skill up by pursuing further education or professional certifications to prepare for career shifts or starting their own businesses. We know that education is really important at this time of life. And it might be a simple education, simple as going to the local high school and taking a jewelry making class. I know people who started out doing beading, hiring the high school kids, and now they have full-fledged businesses in the jewelry area. You don't know where it's going to lead you, is my whole point. And you don't have to go back and get a master's. You might want to, but you don't have to do that. It can be small little things that might upskill you. It might be taking a master class about how to get your LinkedIn to work better for you. It could be something like that. And finally, the AARP Life Reimagined survey reveals that women in midlife increasingly feel empowered to explore new directions, with 80% of women aged 45 and older feeling that midlife is the perfect time for reinvention, citing a combination of personal growth, life experiences, and a desire for self-fulfillment. So as we know, when we say reinvention, we don't mean you have to dump out your whole life and your whole life before was no good. Reinvention can be small. It can be deciding to, get off the couch and do something with exercise, or it could be changing your career. It could be leaving the city you've been in for the whole time. I packed up and left the wilds of Larchmont, New York, to go to this very little quiet town, New Orleans. And for me, that was a really important change in my life. It's completely upended everything. And I feel like a 20-year-old all over again because I'm learning new things. I'm in a different culture, but everybody has their tolerance and what they want to do and what they want to get done. And it can be big, it can be small. Sometimes people don't like the word reinvention because they say it sounds so big and like I have to do the whole thing. That's not the case. It could be reimagine, rethink, reboot, restart, anything with an RE in front of it, rewrite. It could be all those things. So we used to say at More Magazine, because we were always talking about change, that was kind of the understory of More Magazine, was change is coming to you whether you like it or not. Or we used to say more sort of blackly, sometimes you will be given the opportunity to reinvent yourself, which means that when your company goes out of business, like mine did, or something bigger than what you had planned happens. So change is happening today in ways that were unimaginable in the past. Take, for example, my husband's father. He was a coach at a university. He stayed there his whole life. He got the gold watch. He got the SUV to travel in when he retired. I went through 7 different jobs over my career. And then if you look at the millennials today, they're going to go through something like 5 to 7 before they're even in their 30s. Things have sped up because of communication, because of the internet, because of disruption, because of where we are technologically. The cycles are going faster and faster. And things that were established were being disrupted. And I can tell you right now, we're already at the stage where we're seeing there are moments where I can see that we need to disrupt the disruptors. And that's really amazing. The cycle has gotten that far. For instance, how many of you have children or nephews or nieces in their 20s? Do you listen to any of them talk about how much they hate the dating apps? They hate the dating apps. Women in their 60s hate the dating apps. People in their 20s hate the dating apps with a passion. Guess what? It's somebody here should go out and disrupt the dating apps. It's time for something else. We're already in that cycle, right? People hate them. Something else has to come along. It's kind of amazing that we're already in the stage of disrupting the disruptors. When I was a young copywriter at Vogue, Anna Wintour took over in a sudden disruptive coup. And one of my favorite things, everybody said, her favorite line was, change is good. Now, that's because she was the change. Easy to say when you're the one creating the change, right? But she was right. Change is good. Change is, makes you shake things up and not be complacent, and gets you excited, and hopefully revs you up and gets you to move to something interesting. So here are some other facts that tell us why we're likely to have to reinvent. We are living longer. Remember that in 1900, the average lifespan, this is just unbelievable. 1900, average lifespan was 47 years. That was it. That's why it was easy to offer retirement at 65. Very easy. And, because most people are going to be gone. So what's the risk, right? I can offer to pay your retirement because you're going to be gone. So, today, as a woman, you can expect to live well into your 80s. So we have this longer lifespan. And what's interesting is we have this longer health span is what we're all talking about, right? We're all looking to not just live longer, but to live longer in our health and with our well-being, and hopefully with all of our marbles, so that we can do all kinds of things. What's interesting is that even if your life hasn't turned out the way you expected at midlife, I hear a lot of women say that, they'll end up divorced, they'll end up widowed, they'll end up in situations that they didn't expect. I mean, I didn't expect that publishing would no longer exist. It really doesn't. But we have to make the best of it, right? Where can we go? We have this very long span in midlife and beyond that we can make changes, and we can make very satisfying changes. And we have a long road ahead of us where we can actually work on them. You've got 10 or 20 years ahead of you. I know to some people that sounds awful, but to some people it sounds really exciting that you have that opportunity. And I think, whether it's empty nest, career burnout, or personal setbacks, you get to decide what's next. Whatever you did, I know a lot of people I've interviewed talk about, in their 20s, they did what their parents wanted, or they became something because, or they entered a marriage or to a career because that's all they could come up with, or that's what people in their town thought of. And now you're at a different stage, which is really fabulous. You can be you can do the thing you want to do. And it's really an exciting opportunity. So because CoveyClub, we have spent so much time, it's been 8 years of working on reinvention, and how women make change, and how people make change, that we've come up with a lot of practical strategies for reinvention. And Casey's going to drop a lot of links into the chat for you. You can pick up these articles. They might be helpful to you to get yourself started or keep you going, or they might provide some kind of help to you. So one of the biggest obstacles to reinvention, of course, is just getting started. That's the thing that I hear from everybody. It's like, I know I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done with it. I've reached the pinnacle. I'm ready to do something else, but I don't know what that next thing is. And that's really, that's the hard part. And change can look like a giant mountain to scale. It can look very daunting, like I don't even want to deal with it. So that's why we invented at CoveyClub these 30-day challenges. What I've learned is if you work together on something for 30 days and you do tiny increments, I'm a big, huge fan. I became a tiny habits, what do you call it? coach. The only kind of coaching I thought would be helpful, mainly because so many Covey Club members needed help in the very beginning of scaling that mountain. They saw the mountain in front of them. It was too big. How do you do it? How do you get started? And what I like is just 5 minutes a day doing the thing that you think you can't do, whatever it is. And we set out these little calendars. You can see our challenges and how we set them up. And they're 30 days, and we check in and we work together and we say, what are your challenges? How are you doing? Each day we send you an inspiration, a quote, a strategy, an article, whatever to get you going. And the key is you take these little 5-minute steps each day. Anybody can do 5 minutes. You can't find an hour. You can find 5 minutes for sure. And it creates momentum from a standstill. That's the hard part. The hard part is creating momentum. And once you have momentum, you're on your way. We have people, we've done these challenges for, we had one woman start with reinventing her linen closet. And she got so inspired by cleaning out her linen closet that she went on to cleaning out all her personal papers. And then she went on to a storage space that she had. And then she went on to, she was going to start cleaning out all her digital photos. And I said to her, you got to stop, because no one does that. So stop, find something else. You've gone too far. But she was so inspired. That's what happened. So Casey's going to drop in there. This is a great piece that we did in the content area of Covey Club. We do a lot of content because I come out of magazine publishing. So we make a lot of articles, essays, checklists, guides to get you going. It's all free. It's a 30-day reinvent yourself checklist that can help you get going if you want to do it. Casey will put that in there for you to pick up if you want, and hopefully it's a tool that'll help you get going. So basically what it does, it has you start with a self-assessment, what's working in your life, what's not. You create a vision for what your next chapter looks like, and then you take those consistent 5-minute actions that allow you to feel successful from the start. Tiny steps begin the process, and eventually you grow them into larger steps. That's the key. If you want to start reading more before bed, you don't start by saying you're going to read for an hour. You literally read for 3 minutes. That's it. And you close the book and you give yourself a little check mark for the fact that you did it. And then over the weeks, what you do is you grow that to 5 minutes, and then you grow it the next week to 10. And then that's how you grow it. And before you know it, people end up reading before bed, exactly what they wanted to do. So here are some reasons why people procrastinate when it comes to reinventing. Is anybody a procrastinator here? Raise your hand. Okay, me too. I mean, when I find myself procrastinating, I have to ask myself why, because I'm not a natural procrastinator. But these 3 things are true for all of us, right? Fear. That's always my big issue. Is like, I'm afraid I'm going to fail at it. I'm afraid I'm not going to be good enough. I'm afraid I'm not going to do a good enough job. I'm afraid you're not going to get enough out of whatever I'm doing. I'm afraid fear in general, what people say to me is, what if I attempt something and I don't succeed? Will others laugh at me? Will my family think I'm crazy? That can happen. A lot of people say to me, my family thinks I'm nuts when I'm doing this. And it's like, welcome to Covey Club. That's a great place to start. We don't think you're nuts, and it's okay if they think you're nuts. It's fine. Time. It's not a good time. This is a great way to put things off. A lot of people will say, oh, wait until my kids are out of high school. I'm going to wait until, my boss leaves this job. I'm going to wait until I lose 30 pounds and fit in the jeans from 30 years ago. Or I'm already exhausted. How can I do anything else? All those things are great excuses, but they're not really real if you think about just 5 minutes. Honestly, it's 5 minutes. That's what it is. It's all reinvention requires. 5 minutes a day. Everybody has it, and you don't have to wait until your kids graduate from college. You can start now. That's the crazy thing about it. Money. I don't have enough money to reinvent. I do a podcast, which is called Reinvent Yourself with Lesley Jane Seymour. And you can go over there. It's in Apple. You can find it anywhere. You can scroll through the show notes. There's somebody in there who has done whatever it is that you want to do. I promise you. And they have less ability, less connections, less money. Sometimes they have less physical ability. You'd be shocked and amazed at what people do. Most of the people, there's some famous people in there, but there are a lot of regular people just like us. And when I listen to their stories and what they do and how they do it, it's, I mean, it's absolutely astonishing. I mean, a friend of mine, literally, she was a Hollywood producer, ended up in Paris taking care of her son who had cancer treatments, lost all her money in a Bernie Madoff kind of thing, had to start all over. And she literally Googled how to sew and bought herself a sewing machine and has a fashion company. I mean, so it's the old where there's a will, there's a way. And so drop into the chat which one of those emojis stands in your way. Do you have a sense of what's standing in your way? Finances, timing, fear, or any emoji that you like that explains what might be keeping you from doing what you want to do next. And it doesn't have to be giant reinvention. It can be small. Timing. Yeah. Timing. Yep. Timing's tough. Yep. Finances. Yep. Yep. All of the above. Electra. Okay. I hear you. I hear you totally. I hear you well. Elise, finances. Yep. Robin. Indecision. Indecision. Yeah, that's a tough one. Indecision is, I think that's one of the big issues because an awful lot of people, it's mindset when they decide they're going to reinvent. When people figure out what it is, I think a lot of hesitation is because people don't know what it is they want to do next. They know it's something, but they're not sure. And they're not sure what it is. And I think we'll do a class or two coming up that'll be all about how to figure out what that thing is. There are ways of figuring out. Fear of change. Laziness is really interesting. I had a therapist who said there's no such thing as laziness. It doesn't really exist. It's fear. It's fear, and that puts you into an anxiety state, which makes you feel lazy, but it's actually fear. So something to think about. Timing and where to start. Yep. Indecision. Yeah, we should do an indecision. Casey, make a note. We'll do that. That's a really good thing. Fear. Yep. Fear of failure. I'll tell you, when I started out with CoveyClub, I had an awful lot of very nice people say to me, why would you take this chance? What if you fail? You have such a good reputation in the publishing world. And I was like, well, I already own that. Like, I can fall back on that. If I fail, I fail. So what? So, I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. I already had the other. I've been successful in one thing, so I'm still successful there. It doesn't wipe the class out. Oh yes, right. We have our procrastination class tomorrow. Yep. Which is a really good about overcoming procrastination. And I'm sure that indecision, we can put that in there, but we can also do indecision by itself. So those are all true. Time is real. Time is, we're all busy. I think we're busier now than ever. I think one of the things to think about, and what I'm seeing with a lot of people, is that post-COVID now, everybody's kind of jumping back on the busy train. I think the question is, are you on the busy train you want to be on? Or are you just on a train because you're used to being on a train? We're used to being busy, right? Being busy is still a badge of honor. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. Is that the right thing for you? Or are you just doing it because that's what you got, right? And remember that what I always learned about being busy was that it creates its own momentum and it creates its own high. It releases its own endorphin. If you're constantly running, you're running, you're running, you're running, you're running. Slowing down is very difficult, right? Being busy is very comfortable. And in America, people love to be busy. It's a national pastime. It may not be what you want, but you may be very busy. That's what you got to ask yourself. And a lot of people say they know they need to do something else, but they're worried about doing it while they have their current job. You can do that. There are many, many ways that you can do vacations that let you explore other things. You can go to school at night. you can find, there are ways to find time where you can explore what's next for you. I will tell you that when I was working in publishing, I run 4 magazines. I knew publishing was dying. I didn't want to run another one because it was just going to be another sad affair in 2 years or something like that, where they would close it or make me fire everybody. I didn't want to do that anymore. So I went back to school to get my master's in sustainability. I thought I was going to make a segue over to the beauty business, which I loved, because they really need help in the sustainability area. And what was really interesting is I was really frustrated with my job because I had a boss who was negative about everything, didn't want to make any investments, just wanted us to keep cutting. Every day was really depressing. I couldn't leave because if I left, 50 people would be without a job. There's no way they would have kept the magazine going. So what was really strange is once I got into my night classes, all my anger and frustration with the job went away because I was exploring something else new on the other side. And I was using a different part of me, a completely different part of my brain. And I did my best work ever. It released all this imagination and creativity into my job, which was really stagnant because of what was happening in the magazine business. And at the same time, I was learning and exploring in this other area. It was not a thing that anybody told me would happen, but it absolutely exploded everything for me and took the pressure off this boring, repetitive thing that I could only do within this little box that they kept shrinking, right? So it's you never know what's going to happen and how sometimes doing things at the same time can lift you up in the thing that's dragging you down, but you need to stay at. And that was really surprising for me. Here's a few procrastination things, though I would it's tomorrow night. Casey, is the procrastination thing?
Yes, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. I put the link in the chat.
Oh, good. So that's going to be great. This is a procrastination expert. So come tomorrow. Casey will put a link there. But here's a few things that I've dealt with when it comes to procrastination. This is how we've dealt with it before. You chunk your reinvention idea into 4 or 5 steps that you can accomplish over a year. You literally take it apart and say, how am I going to access this? For me, going back to school wasn't, oh, I'm going to find what I want to do and how I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to apply and I'm going to get in and I'm going to go. It was, the first chunk was, what do I want to do? What do I want to explore? The next chunk was finding those courses, finding the possibilities, talking to people who'd done it. The next chunk was going up to Columbia and sitting in a class and saying, does this even feel right? And actually it did. And then of course it was applying and going and then actually going into it. But there are all kinds of processes that you can do, that you can cut things up and start different things at different times. Now you take those chunks and you break those down into 4 or 5 steps. All these things, it's all about breaking things down into smaller things. You literally put them into your calendar and each week you say what you're going to do. So for example, I'll give you an idea of how I do something when I have to write an article for an outside publication. I don't put in my calendar, write article for Maria Shriver. I put in there, find article idea for Maria Shriver. And then the second week is, pitch various ideas. And the next week is do the research. And the next week, so each week I'm doing a part of it, but I'm not saying do the whole thing. And I think a lot of us don't break it apart enough so that it's easy to do. So the other thing that's really interesting, and this is just my little funny thing about embracing change. One of the things that I wrote about, because I've been in this area for so long, is I call this the lobster theory of reinvention. One of the things people say, and as we see a lot of you feel, it's fear when you reinvent. So I happen to love lobster, and I've studied a lot of marine biology when I was doing my degree. And what's interesting is about crustaceans is, they can't grow in their shells. Their shells have to come off. They can only go so big because they're hard. They have to come off, and those little meaty baby things, long before we get to them, have to crawl along the bottom of the ocean naked for a while, and they have to grow the next shell, right? And in many ways, that's kind of what you're doing in reinvention. And the interesting thing is that it is scary, and you can, you do feel naked. The really, really interesting thing is that somebody who was running all of marketing for Harley Davidson and somebody who is a teacher in a local school, when they're going through reinvention, they're that same little naked lobster thing crawling around in the bottom of the ocean together. No one knows, no one can tell the difference. We're all exactly the same when we're going through this. We have different experiences we can draw on, but it's a leveling kind of thing. And when people come together for to hold each other up, and you have people who are marketers, and you have people who are, musicians, and people who are filmmakers, and people who are writers, and people who are copywriters, and people who are photographers. And when all those people come together and they all work together and they share each other, they share resources, they share all kinds of stuff, you'd be shocked at what happens. It all comes together very fast as you're all growing your shells at the same time. And it's a really fun and wonderful experience. But that's why I call it the lobster theory of reinvention. So there's a couple of sort of tenets that we've learned over time about change as well. So these are the top 3 things you have to do to be successful in your reimagination of whatever you're going to do. Embrace the beginner mindset. This is a really interesting thing. It can be really scary for, very accomplished people. I knew everything there was to know about publishing. I was an expert. I had to start all over again with digital. I had to start all over again getting my master's. I didn't know the first thing about half the things they were talking about. Was it scary? Yes, very, very scary. Was it amazing that I could actually learn stuff and feel like I was making accomplishments again? Yes. But you do have to be willing to not know. You do have to be willing to make mistakes. I made so many mistakes. I said the wrong things to people. I insulted people accidentally, which I didn't mean to do. I made, there are great things that we thought people at Covey would love, and we spent all this time making them, and we put them out there, and it was crickets, and then we did other things like off the cuff that we didn't know if anybody would like, and everybody likes it. So that's kind of what it is, but you have to know that's going to happen, and you have to get comfortable with it. And you are still going to be your expert in your expertise, but you have to get a joy out of being stupid again. And there's actually some relief in being stupid, I think, because you can say, I didn't know, and if you insult somebody because you did something wrong, you can just say, I'm really sorry, I didn't know. And if they are not willing to accept that, you probably don't want to work with them anyway. But this is how it goes, right? Ignore the naysayers. There are going to be tons and tons of naysayers out there who say, don't do this, it's too scary. Be afraid, be afraid. Life is full of fear, and they're trying to protect you. A lot of people just push past that naysayer moment. It could be people close to you. It could be your kids, could be your spouse. It could be your business mates. Not all reinventions are going to be successful, but you might still learn something in the process. A lot of reinventors, again, through the podcast, I've interviewed about 300 people. The first one doesn't work. Sometimes they have to go back at it. Sometimes they have to, take the thing they created and it didn't work, and they start another one, or they take that thing and they have to turn it into something else. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't right and that you can't get there. Find your posse is a super important thing. My big problem was having to reinvent alone. There was nobody. I was cast out of magazines just at the very beginning when it was really like there was nobody to talk to, believe me. And I didn't have anybody to ask any questions of. When it came to figuring out what email server to use, I had to spend 3 weeks researching and figuring it out. And it was brutal. It was lonely. I didn't know. I mean, I could go online and look at videos from 20-year-olds telling me what to do. And I don't learn like that. I need to be around intelligent women like me. And that's really why I created Covey, was so that anybody going through change does not have to do it alone. And we've learned that doing it together is easier. And one of the really strange things, very surprising things that I learned about 4 years in, because we do an awful lot virtually and we do some things live, was people would say, well, isn't it kind of weird to try and reinvent yourself and be really vulnerable with strangers? These are people from all over the world, all over the country. And I thought, well, yeah, that could be really a stopper. Maybe that won't work. And the really strange thing is people in CoveyClub, and I've seen it, they tell me it's easier to reinvent that way. Because just think about it. If you come to a new group and you already have blue streaked hair, they're just like, oh, that's Therese with the blue streaked hair. If you're not, if in your friend group and you're saying, well, I think I'm going to have blue streaked hair, they're like, well, why do you want to do that? What's wrong? What do you? Whereas you just do it, you arrive and people accept you the way you are. It's a very interesting, it gets you on your way in a way that is kind of unexpected and really fun. So anyway, that's basically what Reinvention's about. There's a lot of follow-up material for you. I'd love to hear some questions from you all. What's on your mind? What are your questions? What are you worried about when it comes, and what kind of reimagination, rethinking, where are you in the thought process? And you can just we've got a bunch of people here, so maybe I would say, can you raise your hand there and I can probably see you if you have a question? I would love to hear what you guys are thinking, a question or a comment about where you are. Anybody? Yeah, Andrea, go ahead. Unmute, my dear.
Okay, I unmuted. Took a second there.
Yeah, good.
So I started being Covey. I was in advertising, similar to Lesley. We're in different parts of the business, but I felt it was like disappearing around me. It all became 20-somethings that were all doing TikTok, and nobody cared about my amazing background in luxury goods. And I have to give Lesley, I'll give her 80% of the credit because I don't want her to get to, feel good. But I just totally reinvented myself. And listening to this, It's fascinating because I became a franchise advisor, meaning I'm helping people who want to reinvent themselves and have no idea what they want to do, figure out what they want to do and start their own business. But instead of starting from scratch, they now can learn about a business that exists that I could work with them in. And it's exactly what you're talking about. Like, I need some of the quotes you said, I'm going to put on LinkedIn tomorrow, because there's so many people out there that know they want to do something, have no idea what it is. And, that's what I'm trying to help do. So I thank you for everything. And anyone that's not a member.
And you're happy.
Anyone that's not a member, you should join tonight because it's really awesome. And as far as meeting people and not knowing them, I mean, I met some of these people for the first time at the in-person thing last month and the month before. And it was emotional because I feel like some of these people are closer friends of mine than even people who I've been friends with for 30 years, because there's something about, we're all in this together, and it's been amazing. And I didn't get paid to say any of this.
I was going to say, thank you. They'd be like, oh, she's a plant. No, she just showed up. She's just been a wonderful member. A lot of members are just wonderful. I honestly don't send them bags of money.
I wish.
I wish I had bags of money to send. I don't, unfortunately. Anybody have any other thoughts or questions? And then I'll tell you a little bit about Covey so you can understand who we are and what we are. And we have a few people. Cool.
It looks like Elise has a question.
Oh, good. I didn't see that. Elise, go ahead.
Yeah, it's more of a comment or statement. I'm like Andrea, I've been with CoveyClub for a few years, and I was also involved. I also attended the CoveyClub, the Covey Live New York. There were two programs, the New York City Networking Palooza in 2023 and the New York City Health and Wellness Blowout, which was fantastic in 2024, only last month. And I I really believe in what Lesley and her team are trying to achieve. Really, I really do feel like I'm part of a community that's so important to me. Uh, and it's a community of women for women
Yeah.
and want to learn and experience and grow in the next chapter of our lives. And that really resonated with me. And I'm pretty sure it might with you too. The fact that you're supported, and that there's hundreds of podcasts, there's incredible connections. The educational aspect of Covey is unique. Hearing both online and also like these various programs have live, um, uh, like a kind of like a convention where you really get to hear from the latest state of the art. Um, and subject matter experts is incredible. Um, and everything that is done is with care, with incredible, I guess, like as I said, speakers, conferences, podcasts, and we get to learn and share and grow from one another. And we always have that networking aspect that Lesley really is famous for, because
Mhm.
that's what it's about, right? With our professional
Yeah.
and our personal lives, it's all about connections, and that is what I value. Again, it's part of Covey is a community, and that is what is so important and special about it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Elise is a long-term member and very kind. Electra, did you have a question?
Uh,
You want
Hi,
to?
everybody. I just wanted to just introduce myself and say I resonate with this idea of what's next. In that I don't know what's next. All I know is that I've been working in my field for over 20 years. I'm tired. I want out. I want to retire, but I'm actually not in a financial position where I can do that. And so and I don't really have at this point any like burning desire to have some third act where I'm like, this is my swan song with my career.
Okay.
So I just need to make some money. I want it to be pleasant. I don't want to strain myself too much. And I really don't know what that looks like. And I'm also not 100% convinced that I would be satisfied doing that. So I just want to say that out loud. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. No, that's great. A lot of people are in the same situation. And sometimes you can find, a focus on other things. I have people who have to stay where they are for the next 5 or 6 or 7 years. It's not a possibility to change, but you can focus on other parts of your life and explore other parts. You can reinvent other parts of your life, your creative side, all this other stuff that will make it more bearable. And as I said, that's what I was doing publishing was just so depressing. I'm telling you, every time they would call you in and say, I want you to fire 3 more people. It was just horrible, but I couldn't leave. So there are strategies for that. And people in the club know them, and we also address them. There's a lot out there for you. You can have both, you can hunker down and hang there and earn the money and then try to get pleasure and enjoyment elsewhere. It's not a zero sum. Anybody else have a question? Because then we'll just tell you very quickly about the club, and then we're going to get to our special spinner. So I just wanted to let you know all the stuff that we do. It's very much like this. We bring in experts to talk. And for you guys also, I'm always looking for members come and talk to each other because they're all experts in different areas. We have our weekly classes, which we bring in teachers, and sometimes CoveyClub members come and speak. We have the Covey Academy, where we've recorded 400 pre-recorded classes where you can get started tomorrow. It is literally everything that you could think of, from how to do your personal brand, to get your LinkedIn up and rolling, to how, during COVID, we did how to bake sourdough bread. We've done everything, leadership skills. You could put your question into the little spyglass there and get, you'll be occupied well into 2025 if you want to learn that way, or we do both. But those are all available to you if you're a member. We have the Covey challenges I told you about. Those are 3 30-day things that we do together, all different types of challenges, and you can take them any way you want. Everybody does their own individual spin on them. We do pods. Those are small groups of people, 2 to 7, that work together on projects. It could be writing, podcasting, elder care, personal reinvention, career reinvention, whatever it might be. We have the CoveyClub Book Club, which has been going for a very long time. And sometimes the authors will come as well. We do speed networking, which is really, really fun, where we really crash you into each other. It's just 1 hour virtually. When I do live events, we do them live. They're really fun. Covey Connect is our private Facebook community, where you can go in and ask questions and also find, you can click through and find the backgrounds on the people who are there and reach out to them. We have special monthly workshops. We have EFT tapping circle. We're going to start a financially fierce group as well, where women can come talk about their financial questions. Nest hours are accountability hours over our Zoom that we just open up during the day, for people who want to get together and it's like a Zoom study hall where you can just go and get your work done. Sometimes that's what you need. You need somebody sitting there with you. I've had that as well, and it's really fabulous. It works. We have Take 10 Trivia Night, the Monarch Storytelling Nights. These are all this kind of stuff. And then I'm just going to tell you very quickly, when you become a member, you get all these discounts, at least 10% on everything that we do. Covey Lives, the in-person events we give members. It's a membership fee that you'll make up if you do anything with Covey at all. Travel with Covey, we give special discounts for members. We do master classes, special discounts. Escape with Covey is the 3-day retreat. Bring a friend to Covey. If you have a friend who joins with an annual membership, we give you $100 to spend on master classes or whatever it is you might want to, or swag or whatever. What's new is we have travel with Covey, and we have Kiki here to give us. Kiki, I'm going to have to give you like 2 minutes only. So
I'll talk really fast.
2 minutes. Talk quickly.
No, stay on, please, you guys.
Is a member.
Look, I have my Amalfi scarf with lemons.
Yes, who is now doing our Covey travel for us. We're really excited. They did 1 trip already, and we're working on one in April. So for 2 minutes, Kiki, you have the floor really fast.
Oh, good. Well, hi, everybody. Christine and Anne Marie are on here, and they were on the Basque Country trip, and maybe they want to say a word or two, but we really had a great time. That was our trip last year. This year, if you want to see, can I share screen?
Yes.
That I don't know. Maybe.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yes.
So you can just go to kikinetworktravel.com.
I put the link in the chat, Kiki.
Oh, good. You can go there a little bit later, but this is actually the cove we're going to be staying in Amalfi. And I've got a little map. I love this area. I just scoped it all out last year. We're going to the very best places. We're going to fly into Naples and go out and spend the evening in Pompeii at a beautiful hotel with a rooftop restaurant. And then we've got a private guided tour of Pompeii the next day. That's fabulous. And then we'll be taking the ferry from Naples to this gorgeous, wonderful island of Ischia. I don't know if you've heard of it. This smaller island here that I'm circling is Capri, and everybody's heard of Capri.
Oh, yeah.
It's the more Hollywood fancy island, and Ischia is the island for the real people. It's much bigger. It has wineries, gorgeous beaches. It was the first place that the Greeks landed when they were coming to Italy, and it was volcanic. It is volcanic, so it had thermal spas and still has really beautiful thermal spas in different parts of the region, and we'll be visiting one of those. So I've got 4 beautiful days in Ischia, and then we're heading back to, let's see if we can go down here. Then we'll head to the Amalfi Coast. That's all along here. And we'll take our ferry to Sorrento, spend some time there, and then we'll camp out of Amalfi and do a boat that'll take us to Positano for the day. We're going to go up into Ravello. We'll be touring lemon farms, doing wine tastings. So the wonderful thing is Leslie's giving you a $500 discount for CoveyClub members, which is great. I will happily talk with anybody who has questions. You can just email me and I'll talk you through buying tickets or where's the best place to do things. And then if you get on my website, you can see the map, the quick summary, and then I go really into detail. That's me and my friends last year in Pompeii trying to do the Beatles album cover.
Great. Kiki, thank you. Thanks
So
so much.
everyone, I have to say, I did the Bass Babes trip with Kiki last year, and all you need to do is show up. I mean, it
Good.
was fabulous, and everything we did was outstanding. So you are in good hands with Kiki Network Travel, and she's awesome. So, and
Yay.
she's so calm, even when we were supposed to be somewhere at 10 a.m. and or 7 a.m. and we thought it was 10 a.m. She's just very calm. So we've had a change of plans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we're going to change our plans. But it was just so much fun and so well organized. I mean, it was great.
Great.
And very
All right.
luxurious, top notch, top notch.
All
Well,
right.
I
ladies.
love it. And I'm a story of reinvention too. I led communications for Dartmouth College's business school. I'll wrap it up. But I, little by little, have done this travel business. I love it. And we're going to have a blast. And Lesley's coming. We should tell you that. And it's open for men. So bring your partner, bring your husband, bring your adult son. So this is not just an all ladies trip.
Right. Awesome. Now we're going to do, for those of you who are not members, we're going to do a little spinner and give away a membership, a full annual membership. So Casey has all of you
Yes.
non-members.
Let me just take one quick minute and make sure if you are not a member and you're on the call, if your name is not on here, can you just unmute yourself and give us your name?
Holler at her.
Because I got everybody I could find. I just want to make sure. So we'll give you this is kind of last call.
Okay, last
Okay.
call. All
Okay,
right.
we're going to go for it.
Did somebody say something?
Yeah, Nancy.
Nancy?
Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. I'm gonna add
Oliver?
you in.
Can you add there? Oh, good. Nancy. Perfect.
Yay!
All right. Excellent. We try. We
We do our best around
This
here.
is our
Let's
famous
go.
spinner. We use this all the time at the end of all kinds of events. Dion B. All right. Are you still there? Hopefully. Is she there? You
Let's
still
make
there?
sure she's here because
She might have to go.
nope, she's here.
Dion,
I'm
you won.
here. I was talking on mute. That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Casey, shout out
Congratulations.
to you. Thank
you.
you for joining. We're really excited.
I'm so excited. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Great to have you. And for the rest of you, because we don't want you to feel like you're winners as well, right? If you didn't win, we have a special offer for you. For new members and monthly members who purchase an annual membership, it has to be an annual membership, before midnight Pacific time on October 30th. It's 7 days from now. This membership does not include a free trial. It just goes right in for the full year. We're going to give 25% off the full value of our CoveyClub membership of $360. So please read all the details in the link that we're adding into the chat. Plus a special bonus for the 20 people who join first. We'll give a $50 coupon to spend on upcoming Covey events or master classes or whatever. And then for 30 people who join after, we had a big crowd coming, a $25 coupon to spend the same way. So we would love to have you all. It's a great time to join. And we can get you through and get you over any procrastination issues, any questions. And sometimes just being in community with other women who are doing the same thing is what gets you to the next stage. And I can tell you that from having done it for so long. It's inspirational, and you see other people do it and you see what they do, and you can see the steps they're taking and you follow those steps, and sometimes that works for you. Does anybody have any other questions or thoughts or comments? Yeah, go ahead, Therese.
I just want you to know that CoveyClub really is my posse, because I have until it's a huge support, and it makes a huge difference. I'm very independent, but I'm also a team player, and I've been on my own doing solo stuff for so long. I really I'm tired of it in every way. I don't want to travel alone anymore. I just, it's just been hugely supportive. And even things that I didn't think I would be interested in, they're dished out. I go to the table and feed myself. It's just fabulous. So there you have it.
Good. Thank you, Therese. Anybody else? Any questions? Any thoughts? I hope you're all going to have a great night tonight. And I so appreciate you spending the hour with us. I hope this was valuable. I hope that you get a lot of information you can take home. Check in with us, ask us questions. We're all here. It's Lesley, Lesley at CoveyClub. Any questions you have, join our newsletter. The newsletter's free. You can get an idea of who we are.
No.
I'm trying to feed you everything I know that will help you get to where you're going. Because believe me, when I did it by myself, it sucked. So I don't want it to be like that for anybody else. I'm a big helper. That gives me joy. And I'm a big connector. The other thing I like to do is put you guys together and see what you guys dream up. That's what's really fun. People help each other start businesses. And that's really amazing. So thank you for being here. Thank you to all my current members for coming and chatting. I'll send you the big pots of money later in the mail.
Come to Amalfi with us.
Come to Amalfi. It's going to be really fun. And bring whoever you want. It's going to be really fun. So take care. And girls, go out there and vote. If you have not voted, please do your CoveyClub members a favor and vote. All
Great
right.
to see you all.
All right. Take care,
Bye, guys.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Be good all.
Bye.